Yeah, we designated spitters live every week. Live, designated homie, cause we spit heat. We designated spitters, Francis and Pete. Yes, talking Yankee baseball, hip hop for the streets. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters time that you know. Yup, we designated. Yup, we innovative. Yup, we designated. Spitters, let's start the show.
Okay, everybody, what is going on? Welcome to the very first episode of many of Designated Spitters. You guys know who I am, Pete Simonetti, and of course, the one, the only, Francis Lee. Francis, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Excited. First episode.
Isn't this nice? This is nice. This is nice.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped.
I feel at home. I am home, but I feel at home.
Facts.
I mean, immediately off the bat, I just want to tell everybody, thank you guys for supporting this podcast. I know I got a lot of comments about it, about people wanting to see it, wanted to hear more from the NYYNEWS team. So, folks, again, I just want to say this is the start, okay? This is the start of much more to come. But me and Francis are very excited to get this thing going. So let's get it going. We're starting with a Yankee-Red Sox series that is underway right now as we record. The Boston Red Sox defeated the Yankees yesterday, and right now they're playing, and, man, our Yankees are just sleeping behind the wheel, man.
Yeah. Yep, rough. We bottom 7 now. Men on second and third for Boston.
What do we have, like 2-3 hits?
We've got 6 hits now that we're going like towards the 8th. So through 7 innings, we've mustered up 6 hits. But I mean, that's unacceptable against Boston's pitching. I mean, yesterday,
Alex Cora.
Yeah, I mean, apparently this guy comes and then this team becomes the 2018 championship team again. I don't know, but the pitching that they're putting out there is just, it's subpar. And it seems like, I mean, they run into other people and the other teams can hit them, and then we get there and we can't hit Eovaldi. It's like,
yeah, no,
like,
definitely.
Do you guys remember Eovaldi? Like, we had him.
We had him, and he was a trash can. Can.
And now we can't hit the trash can. I mean, there's an easy joke there. I'm not gonna make, but
we're not gonna fall in that category.
Yeah, I'm not falling in that trap today.
Not gonna happen.
I'm not falling in that trap today. Exactly.
We can't do that. But no, I mean, we're seeing a lot of what we've seen throughout the whole year. You know, we look even at yesterday's game. You know, as I got the highlights running on the screen here. We're looking at the game yesterday, and Domingo Germán has continued to be a little inconsistent. You know, Jordan Montgomery a little inconsistent, but it's just more the same. I mean, the Yankees, there's just a flatness to them, and I'm telling you, one of the things that I talked about, and I wasn't for it as much as I am now. So yes, folks, minds can change. You can change your mind on things. I remember saying, all the righties in this lineup, it's good. Then you see a dude like Garrett Whitlock come in, who righties can't hit, who was a Yankee. We didn't see the value of putting him on a 40-man. Cash guard. I don't know. Cash guard, okay? But, you know, these type of guys ate them alive. They didn't stand a chance against Ottavino. They didn't stand a chance against Garrett Whitlock. They didn't get a chance against, I think it was the Japanese pitcher they have also, who throws a great splitter. They didn't stand a chance against them.
Sawamura.
They didn't stand a chance against them. It looked bad. It looked horrible.
Yeah, no, terrible.
So, you know,
but to be honest, we looked in all of that, saying all that, we still looked better yesterday than today.
Today looked terrible. It's been infield hit city.
Yeah, and today like went flat. Isn't like yesterday they scored 3 runs, which is not, you know, world beating by any whatever, but they scored 3 runs. They had 9 hits.
Right.
Today they've got 6 hits through 7 with no runs.
And they're facing a lefty starter with a right-handed lineup.
I mean, Eovaldi's lefty? Wow. That just flew right over my head.
No. Eovaldi's a righty. Oh, no, Eovaldi pitched today. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I'm going ahead. I'm going ahead to tomorrow.
You're going ahead.
Oh, my God. I hope it's not that bad. No.
Yeah.
No, you got me on that one. But you know, even Eovaldi.
Still righty versus righty.
100%. And Eovaldi's a guy who, you know, throughout, he's definitely gotten better. You know, he started to throw more cutters. The fastball's no longer straight because of the cutter. So he's giving guys a different look, and he is a power guy. But this offense is better than 6 hits against anybody. I mean, that's inexcusable. That's inexcusable.
Against Eovaldi specifically, like, all right, listen, I understand he did add the cutter, like, and that's, I'm not going to discount that for what it is, because that does help a lot when you know that a guy throwing a fastball pitcher can now integrate something that's going to move slightly. But this lineup, if one thing they are and have always been, is a fastball hitting team.
100%.
Like this season, I think that's what's been so frustrating. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pontificate ignorantly, like, oh, like we just suck completely. Right. And there's just no. What frustrates me as a fan is the fact that the things that we were doing in 2017, 18, 19, 20, we're not doing those things anymore. Like hitting fastballs for one, even cut fastballs, even two-seam fastballs. This team was hitting and punishing fastball pitchers. And now they're pitching into the seventh inning against us, which is it's beyond me. Like, again, like you said, more like all respect to Eovaldi. That guy's had a decent career after the surgeries and the injuries. He's made it back. I respect that. But the Yankees are supposed to be able to beat this guy.
100%.
You know?
100%. I mean, and again, it's been a common occurrence for most of the year. We see the Yankees get shut down by guys that teams are eating alive. First name that comes to mind is Matt Harvey. Yep. I mean, Matt Harvey beat the Yankees up. He goes against the Mets twice and gives up, 7 runs both times? I think he's pitching to a 6+ ERA still. I haven't checked that in a little while, but I wouldn't doubt it.
Eovaldi, we're watching the end. Eovaldi. We're watching the end of Harvey's career.
Yeah.
Right? I think his last good start was that start against the Yankees.
More than likely. I mean, God, you had people probably picking him up in fantasy leagues after that start just because, wow, he did well. So the Yankees right now is now 4-0 as Xander Bogaerts hit a sac fly. So now they're down 4-0. What is that, bottom of the...
4-0. We're going to the top of the eighth. We got 6 outs.
Top of the eighth. So tomorrow's scheduled starters is the big man Garrett Cole versus Eduardo Rodriguez. So Eduardo Rodriguez, folks, has a 6.07 ERA. He's a lefty starter against a right-handed lineup. I got a little ahead of myself earlier. But this is a prototypical guy this right-handed lineup should eat. They should eat him. Alive. They should eat him.
He shouldn't make it out of the 5th inning.
And right now, the Yankees are, again, only 5 games. As of now, we're not putting this one in there. They're 5 games over 500. Garrett Cole is 8-3 with a 2.33 ERA. The one thing I've noticed about Cole, we're going to talk about him a little more later in the show when it comes to the whole catcher situation. Since this whole spider tack thing has kind of exploded, the one thing I've noticed, I feel like the strikeout numbers haven't been the same.
That's true.
But there's nothing else that I really could pinpoint. Velocity isn't different. According to the nerds, I guess we'll say, is the spin rate people who know this stuff, that hasn't changed significantly at all.
Yeah. The velocity, if anything, it was a tick up the first 2 starts after the whole spider tag thing.
Right.
He was throwing harder. But what you mentioned is actually 100% spot on. That's the only thing that I can see as a big difference outside of the fact that he clearly just doesn't have the feel that he had before with the tack for his off-speed pitches. I think the result of that is the lower strikeout numbers. Now, is he still effective? Has he still been? Yeah, I think he's still been effective, and he's still been able to battle his way through some difficult lineups. I think that Blue Jays start was just a testament to just how tough he is.
Excellent. Yep.
He didn't have his best stuff for a while in that game. I don't think he really felt in sync until maybe the 5th inning, which is nuts because I think he pitched into the 8th inning of that game or something crazy like that, 7th or 8th, which Booney was going crazy. Couldn't wait to take him out.
They had to get him in a straitjacket to stop.
Couldn't wait to call Wandy Peralta up and say hey,
good old Wandy.
Have you seen Wandy?
He's on the DL. He's on the IL now.
He's on the IL.
He's on the IL. Wandy.
Let's not say DL.
Let's not say DL. I know. I don't want to hurt any feelings here.
First episode, we'll get canceled. Nah.
Wandy and Britton goes to the disabled list. So that's the news today. Abreu called up, and I forgot who else they called up. I think Krisky. I think they called him also. Yeah. So we do have O'Day and Wilson getting ready to come back. So they'll likely take those spots also. But Britton was looking good. Britton was looking good on his quick return, on his couple of games that he's been back. And you know, you worry about Britton because he's under contract next year for $14 million. You know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to be under contract for a guy who's starting to maybe get. And he's had his injury history. It's not like it's brand new. And then you go from there. Wandy Peralta, I could care less about. Lucas Luetge is the lefty in the Yankees pen. He continues to do well. You know, it's funny because throughout all the time he's pitched this year, I almost feel like I've never sat down and actually watched him. That might sound crazy because he's pitched a lot. Yeah. But I watched him yesterday, and nothing he throws is straight. I could see why he gives guys trouble. Everything moves. So, you know, good find from Brian Cashman or the advanced scouting team.
Yeah, I like Luetge a lot. I remember coming out of spring training. It might have been like in one of my first videos or second videos, like for this season, where I was just like, man, like if we could find a way to like let this guy like break spring training with the team, like that would be great. And then he made it, and I was super excited. And then
he got off to a bad start.
And he got off to a rough start, and people were like, "Oh man, this guy doesn't belong here," or whatever.
Yep.
The only reason I didn't come out and start saying like, "Oh yeah, like maybe it's a little too soon for him" or whatever, is because it was too small of a sample size, and I was just like, I want to see him break spring training with the team because I want to see him like in the majors for a little while to see if his stuff plays, because in spring training it was playing heavily. I think now at this point we can say like in a satisfactory way, like this guy's pitched pretty well, like out of the bullpen.
No, he's been awesome.
That's been like, you know, like, yes, it's been a strength at times, but it's also cost us games throughout the year too. And like Licky's not, you know what I'm saying? He's had his bad games here or there, but I think he's done a phenomenal job. Like 100%. He's done a really good job. And I think his success opens us up to flexibility with what we do moving forward with our bullpen, right?
Yeah, definitely 100%. No doubt about it. Yeah, and it's you know, you look at the Yankees bullpen. The only concern I have, do I think they have one of the better bullpens? I do. I think the Yankees still have one of the better bullpens. My concern is the work level. The work level has been intense. It's been insane. I mean, you know, I'm worried about John Loiza's arm falling off before the season ends. I mean, I really am. He's still going out there, you know, throwing 100+ and looking excellent and looking like he's a future closer potentially. But man, I mean, you know, the amount of times he's being used at this point, every time I feel like I turn around, he's in the game.
I think he's probably our reliever who's pitching the most innings thus far. And high leverage innings. It's like, I mean, guys talk about this all the time. People don't understand it, I guess, if you don't watch the game or you haven't played the game. But there's a different level of stress that you put on your body in a high leverage situation.
That's right.
Than if you're coming in a mop up role. Like,
that's right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Nestor Cortez was coming in, not this year, of a couple of years ago. He's coming into the game, you know, when it's like we're down 5 in the 7th or something. And he's coming in to mop up, and he's giving up 2 or 3 more. But he's not putting much stress on it because, you know, it wasn't high leverage. Lowe has been in high leverage situations since the start of the season.
All the time.
Through June now. And he's shown up a lot. Yes.
I do respect.
One game that was bad. That's it.
And I do respect the Yankees for recognizing his potential. I do. Yeah. Because I remember when he was a starter, I was like, man, this guy needs to go in the bullpen.
DJ LeMahieu, the decline. He just hit a home run. The decline.
Look, because you know what I was about to say. Because I saw that that Evaldi he struck out Andujar, then he got into the ground. I said, man, he's gonna throw a shutout. He's gonna throw a shutout. So I'm like, man, happy to the declining DJ LeMahieu. The D in his name stands for declining now.
That's
declining LeMahieu. They actually changed his name. Yep. It's the go forward. Speaking of Nestor Cortez, I need to see that man at an Old Timers Day at one time. At some point down the line,
he's rooting for it.
Hey, he's going for it, man. He got about 47 trips with the Yankees already. So Nestor is trying.
Nestor Cortez. Let me tell you the thing. I want to give him his flowers while there's a chance to do so, because he did hold things down. Was it in the Kansas City series?
I forgot what game but I know the exact game you're talking about.
Yeah, I think it was just recently in the Kansas City series. And if I'm wrong,
Tyone got hammered.
Yes.
And he came in.
And he held it down.
Yeah.
And I think that was really big because, you know, Nestor Cortez has been through a lot in his career. He's been let go by the Yankees, you know what I mean? Like, So to come back and to like have a performance like that, hey, kudos to him.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. I might start the trend. Nesta for Old Timers Day. That's it. Look, forget keeping them in the pen. Forget all that. I just want it for Old Timers Day. I want to hear that name one day when I'm like 47 years old. Nesta Cortez.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat for you. Nesta Cortez.
That's it.
And half the crowd is
Nesta
like,
just trot out. Who's Nesta Cortez? Who's that?
Oh.
And I also want to see Brian Casham's greatest trade of all time, Alfredo Garcia, make a trade.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you got to do that. I mean, he might be throwing like Cracker Jacks out the
standing ovation for that guy. Never.
Standing. Speaking of guys who try hard, let's talk about one big name, and I know fans are going to get very excited because this is the oddest. Well, we're gonna start with him first, but the whole part of the catching situation, I find it to be the oddest conversation of all. I think it's weird, but anyway, trying hard. We have to give tons of credit to Gary Sanchez.
That is a fact.
Tons of credit to Gary Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. That is a fact.
The turnaround, I believe, is real, my friend. I believe it's real.
I'm telling you right now, I admitted it on the net round table. I'll say it again here. First episode of the pod. Bro, I was on the bandwagon this winter saying, I don't know what we're going to do with Gary Sanchez, but if we can move him, move him.
Yeah, who was it?
I don't know.
And you can't, the funny thing is, Twitter makes the world very weird. You know what I mean? It makes the world odd because you'll have people who, right away want to point fingers at people who said he wasn't doing well. Who knew? So let's put it like this.
There were 3 people who were still rooting for Gary Sanchez.
Yeah. If Gary Sanchez's career went to hell, would anybody be shocked if it did? No. Nobody would have been shocked.
No.
I think you got more people shocked that he's actually recovered and has bounced back the way he has.
Exactly.
So,
that tells you all you need to know.
All day.
That tells you all you need to know.
All day.
The fact that everybody's so hyped about, oh my God, look at Sanchez, whatever.
Right.
Because we didn't expect this.
No.
Nobody expected this.
And I tend to repeat it a lot because I want people to understand where my expectations were. They were low.
Yeah, same.
I said it. I remember on the podcast with Ryan Beck, I said, man, give me 220. If you could put 20 homers, awesome, and 70 RBIs, and I'll be more than happy. To me, that would have still put him at a very good catcher. Play better defense, that's great. He's doing all of that. He's doing all of that.
Yeah.
Including the defense.
Yeah, and that was going to be the point that I made. I think he's made tremendous strides defensively, and I think for once it's out of his head a little bit. Not that he's not focusing on it, but the fact that he's made these strides defensively and feels comfortable with the strides that he's made, he's been able to shift a little bit of that focus back to what got him here in the first place, which was his tremendous ability and potential as a hitter. Yeah. And I think there's nothing better than that kind of Gary Sanchez.
No, not at all.
Gary Sanchez who's not worried about a pass ball that happened a couple innings ago or whatever, or worrying that, late in the game, I'm going to have to catch, Betances or Chapman, and I don't know if they're going to throw something in the dirt, and I can't get, when he's not in his head and he can focus on hitting.
He's a beast.
This is what he does.
He's a beast.
The issue is the last couple of years, everything has been about the defense. And that's why I said, if we're sold on the fact that he's not our guy defensively and even our ace refuses to pitch to him,
that's right.
Then maybe we should move him. That was my rationale in saying that he should be moved. That was it right there. It was simple. It's not that I thought he was done completely as a hitter, because I think I'm on record as saying no, I think when he gets moved, he's going to figure out hitting.
Oh, somewhere. Yeah, because I remember saying, too, if he moves and he does well, that wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yeah,
I mean, that wouldn't shock me. But the big difference.
The pressure goes.
Of
New
course.
York, the pinstripes are heavy, whether people want to admit it or not.
No doubt about it.
When you're not producing, I can't imagine being in that position, not producing, being a young guy that a lot is expected of you, and you're playing in the Bronx, stadium full of fans. It's
and the fans are on you. The fans are there expecting so much. And the worst thing, unfortunately, one of the worst things you could do as a young guy, especially as a catcher, it's hard because, it's hard to have that whole season, is come up and do what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, he put this expectation, unfortunately, not that he wanted it,
but
the way he performed, I remember MVP. He's going to win the MVP. Once they got Stanton, everybody talked about, well, everybody's forgetting Gary Sanchez. He's going to win the MVP award. He's the best hitter on the team. And that's a lot of pressure. But the big difference of Gary Sanchez, as I'm even showing on the screen here, I knew there was something. I was looking for it. I know a lot of people also pointed it out to me, is you can tell immediately the major difference. I just put it on the screen there. If you see what he does now than he was doing before, is his foot is touching the floor before the pitch gets to him. So he's setting the leg kick is down before. Before that, the leg kick he would do that Robinson Cano where the leg stands up and he goes back and then into the pitch. Yeah. And it wasn't the right thing for him. The timing was off.
Yeah.
So
he couldn't hit slow fastballs.
88 mile. I told you, I was talking about the other day. 88 mile an hour fastballs, couldn't catch up to it.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been O'Neal talking about it one day, but he was basically saying when the foot goes down and it's planted, when you're sitting, you could sit fastball that way because you could wait on you could wait for the fastball, or you can react to the off speed when you recognize it. It's a difference of when your timing is off, you can't react to that.
No, you don't. You end up like everything. You're off balance, which is
Completely.
one of Sanchez's big problems.
Yep.
That was his problem like the last couple of years, which is Glaber's problem this year and the last year too. Like it's the same thing. It's balance, and that's why like when people point the finger like at Tim's, like for the whole lineup struggling, like I don't necessarily know like what changing him would do for the entire lineup, but like with guys like a Sanchez or a Glaber, like there are things where I'm like, yeah, this is where a hitting coach like would step in and say,
100%.
The issue is you're off balance for way too long. And that's why, like Sanchez, it's been for years that we're looking at him and we're like, why is he so off balance? And it's like his foot is still in the air and he's trying to react to a curveball. That's why. Like you ever try to hit a major league curveball on one leg? Yeah. Like, it's not gonna go well.
That was one of the when I did my Sanchez video, I said, let me do a video and talk about Gary a little bit because I know it's such a topic that people want to hear about. But one of the first comments was, why has it taken a professional team this long to recognize this? Yeah. And the first thing that popped in my mind was everybody saying how unprepared this club is and how unprepared the coaches are. But I find that to be that's tragic. I mean, I don't know many other words for that, but that's tragic to me that they couldn't recognize that. And apparently, when he got a call from one of his coaches in DR or something like that worked with him, and he brought it up to him.
Makes sense.
So I'm like, I mean, I don't know how true it is. That was one of the comments. I don't necessarily remember reading that, but that wouldn't shock me one bit because
they'd never put that out for us to confirm it.
No, they wouldn't want to. No,
even if that was true.
Not at all.
But that makes sense because these guys that like the kids that coach you, the guys that coach you up coming out of the Dominican, like they still follow you.
Yeah,
they follow your entire career, and they watch the guys that they coach up. So I'm sure these guys are still watching Gary, and they know which version of him is going to be the most successful. So that doesn't seem too far-fetched to me.
Well, what's
scary is the point that you brought up about the coaching staff.
That's terrifying.
And not being able to catch it. Like that to me points to a much larger issue.
No doubt. No doubt about it. That's not good. I mean, that's not good at all. I mean, that is truly the I think the most the hitting coach could get out of his team is to find issues like that. You could solve problems very easily. Exactly. You could say, hey, like you said, for an example, Glaber, I've been looking at this video. You know what I mean? What happened here? Why is this a mechanical change? You could obviously see it. Yeah. You know, that's easy to point out. And Gary's difference is huge now. Yeah. Even if you notice his back leg, he crouches more on it now. To be a little more lower. It's a complete difference. Aaron Judge just walked, so we're maybe getting a little something going here. It'd be nice for the first podcast, get a little bounce back win.
Right, that would be phenomenal.
That would be wonderful. And speaking of Gary's up right now. So jumping right into, let me say this. I think it's weird. I think it's odd. I really do. Maybe you got a different opinion on it than I do. But this whole idea of who catches Garrett Cole, I honestly say, man, I don't understand it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you could provide a little more insight on what you think. I don't understand it. I just don't.
I think, yeah. So I mean, this whole thing again, what you were saying before comes back into play here. Twitter is a very weird place, full of a lot of weird, with a capital W, individuals.
Right.
And that's where these narratives are created, right? So more power to them, because they've gotten it to the point where everyone's talking about this whole thing, and it's really not a thing.
And it's an argument. It's like an argument. It's like a war zone. The Yankees are a terrible team, but they don't do. I don't get it.
They know they want to fight you.
They want blood.
I got into an argument. I got into an argument with a guy because I was just like, they're like, well, how do you sit Sanchez right now? I was like, I tell you how you sit Sanchez right now. Would you rather have Sanchez in the lineup or Cole on the mound?
Oh, I saw that. Yep, I saw that.
Just think, it's very simple, right? Like, catchers don't catch all 5 pitchers in a rotation anyway.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if you decide that no, Gary Sanchez is really hot right now, he needs to be catching the other 4 guys, I'm with you. I'm 1,000% with you. But if Garrett Cole says he's pitching to Higashioka, then he's pitching to Higashioka, and that's it. And to me, there's nothing. We gave AJ Burnett a personal catcher,
right? Like, Randy Johnson
for that, like
Randy Johnson.
Like, we've done this before.
Yeah.
This is not brand new. Like, they're making it look like, oh, Cole is, Cole nothing. Cole nothing. He is the only guarantee in our starting pitching rotation.
Yep.
I don't care if this guy wants Higashioka catching, Al Pastor tacos in the clubhouse, 3 women on a tricycle, and a whole circus in town every day he starts. You better get
right.
Like,
right.
What are we doing? Like, no, we have people arguing. No, Gary Sanchez, he's just too hot. He's got to catch Cole.
Nah, man.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Not
you
at
know
all.
what has to happen? We have to get creative with our DH spot. That's what we don't put it on Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole should be inconvenienced because the Yankees don't know how to structure a lineup.
100%. It's a roster construction problem. That's all it is.
But they want to make it. They want to make it a Garrett Cole problem, and then that's what it is every time.
I find that so weird. I really do. I don't understand. You know how many people I've seen bash Cole for this? I'm like, what is going on here?
I've seen, he's not being a team player or whatever.
Right.
He's not a team player. He knows his. I mean, this is Garrett Cole we're talking about. We're not talking about Jordan Montgomery this is Garrett Cole. This guy is elite. He is the cream of the crop in pitching in baseball right now.
Right.
Nobody knows what they bring to the table as a pitcher as well as somebody like Garrett Cole does. If he's telling you you're going to get the most out of me with this guy behind the plate, I'm inclined to believe him.
I mean,
no matter how hot Gary is.
I'm literally right now on the screen, everybody's seeing it with us, Garrett Cole when he faced the Orioles. And I mean, the stuff is so filthy. I mean, anybody could just sit there and just say anything about him, right? It's odd to me that this is even
Sanchez walked.
There you go. So we'll see what happens. It's just so odd to me that there's a conversation. I literally I made a video about it because I'm like, all right, let me touch this while it's hot. And it feels like it's a waste of time. Let me touch it while it's hot. Somebody even said, well, that's what the manager does. Aaron Boone's not going to do that. So if you got this idea that Boone's going to be the guy to tell Garrett Cole would tell Boone to go in your office. Don't come out.
And he'd be right.
And he'd be 100% right. He'd be 100% right.
Hey,
Boom, go. Get out of here. He'd do one of the things they just do. Shoo, come on, move. You're wasting my time.
Call my agent.
Right, exactly.
Call my agent.
Do you really want it? Do you want to keep this job?
Yeah.
Like you do understand that I make one call and you're out.
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Look down.
Right. What are you doing? Next time you don't approach me that way. Are you nuts? Are you mad? He'll do like he'll do like what Joe Pesci did in Goodfellas. You calling me? You think I'm funny? How am I funny?
You think I'm funny? Do I amuse you?
Do I amuse you?
Do I amuse you?
Do I amuse you? But
oh man,
it's just hilarious to even understand this conversation. So my whole opinion of it is that, and even like what you said before, do you want Cole, who is getting all this money to do what he does, what he's doing this year with this club, do you want him to be comfortable, or do you want the Yankees to make the right decision by telling Stanton, hey buddy, you got to get out in the outfield soon. You got to get, until that's the case, Garrett Cole makes that decision. It's as simple as that. And it's not a decision. I don't believe it has any harshness behind it. I don't believe it has any anger or animosity. They even make there was videos that I sent to you guys. He obviously gives him a hand clap, and people on Twitter are going, oh, there's obviously beef there. He smacked his hand. What was he supposed to do? Pat him on the ass? Is he supposed to kiss him?
They were saying
they
were like, oh, he didn't react to Gary's home run. I'm like, have you guys, like, clearly
they've never watched it.
90% of you have never watched him. Also, 90% of you have never played baseball, and that percentage who have played probably weren't pitchers, because when you're pitching,
tunnel vision, you're
not it. Like, yes, your team is there, they're batting up, but it's like you're literally like going through pitch sequences and at bats where you thought that you should have thrown something, and now you're going through it in your head or whatever. Like, you're not even aware what the heck is going on half the time. So like, he hits the home run, and Cole probably realized at some point, was like, oh yeah, we got the okay, cool. And then he went back to like pitching. Okay, so next inning, I'm facing this guy, that guy.
Yep, facts.
It's not a thing. It has nothing to do with Gary.
That's and my first reaction to when I saw that video, I said he's still in the game. He got a game to pitch.
Yeah, like, he's not out. He's not like whatever. I'm sure if he was like on the bench or something, he probably would have reacted.
Right, of course.
Because when he's not pitching, these are the videos they don't want to post, because it doesn't support their argument. Because when Cole is not pitching and Gary is starting and he's mashing, guess who's on the top of the rail cheering him on? Garrett Cole. So, I don't understand. Like, what are we talking about here?
It's silly. It's really silly. And I see
he's an ace. He is a true ace. He knows. Wait, hold on. Did Stanton
might have another walk here? I know. I still
and walk 3 walks.
3 walks. They're giving us this game. Now you need clutch and Louis V's up.
Yeah,
you got Louis
V.
Is
the guy. This is Sawamura, the guy that we were just.
All right, we were just
up.
we were just talking about. So maybe we put a little curse on him there.
Hopefully, but to like.
Oh, Adavino's coming in. Adavino's coming in.
Here we go. Well, I mean, maybe a lot of people.
Hey, if he can hang a slider here, just hang one.
That's what I'm saying. I like Voigt's chances against Otto. Surprisingly, better. If they were smart, I think they would have brought in Otto for Stanton, because he's more susceptible
to
swinging out on that. But whatever. With my last thought on the Cole catching situation is, listen, he's our ace. He's an elite pitcher, and I think like Higashioka does an amazing job catching Cole, right? 100%. If we take it away, let's take the focus off of Cole and put it on Higashioka. Like, is he hitting like whatever? No, he's not hitting whatever. But I mean, even though the last time he did hit a home run in Cole's last start, but I'm saying he's not in there to be an offensive threat when he's catching Cole starts. He's in there to like call the game that Cole wants to be called, to catch the balls that Cole is going to throw like away, out of the zone, in the dirt, whatever. Like, he's there to frame and not think about framing. Like, Gary has gotten better with framing, but it's still something that he thinks about. And you got to remember, umpires aren't stupid. They know that Sanchez struggles with framing.
Yep.
So when Sanchez is catching a game, he's going to get less calls as he moves the glove, versus a guy like Higashioka, where people know that he's good already. So it's like, if they see him move, like, they don't really know. Like, they're like, it probably is a strike, whatever. Like, they're just going by what they see. Whereas with Sanchez, umpires know stuff. I'm telling you, like, people think that this stuff doesn't matter. It matters. Like,
of course it does.
You come in with a reputation. Like, people know, like, oh, this guy, like, he's a slow frame or whatever. So if Gary's arm moves, they automatically think ball. And it's not a lot of the time. Whereas Higashioka has that freedom because he's already built that rapport as a catcher who's a good framer without moving his arm. So they're not looking for his arm to move because they know it doesn't move as much.
Right.
So it's like, maybe that's something that the cerebral Cole just wants to be there, because it's less of a chance for his pitches to not get called for strikes. I don't know. But if that's what he wants, I think that's what he should get. And I disagree with anybody saying that
I agree.
You should force Gary Sanchez on him because he's hot.
That makes no sense. I mean, I don't understand. And again, there's going to be things that, I completely disagree with, or I don't understand fully. And that's truly one of them. To me, it's like a mystery. I'm like, why is this a big deal? I'm like, is there really something here that I'm missing? At the end of the day, Garrett Cole wants to pitch the one guy he feels comfortable with, and that's all there is to it. And then you get the regular thing. Well, what happens if it's an elimination game? Well, if Gary's still doing Gary things, then you sit down the DH who isn't doing big things. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it came to that decision, don't you play the hotter hand?
Yeah.
I mean, you play the hotter hand at that moment.
Yeah. Or like if it's an elimination game or something like that or whatever, like, you're probably gonna get as much, like, if you have to make a decision, right? And this is what managers are supposed to be paid to do, to make decisions like this, where it's like, okay, this is game 7. I've got Garrett Cole on the mound. All right. but I also have Gary Sanchez, one of our hotter hitters right now in the lineup. Do I compromise what Cole can give us on the mound for what Sanchez can give us in the batter's box? Or do I say, let me give this guy the catcher he needs because the pitching is more of the commodity in a game like this? I think a smart manager gives the pitcher what he needs to be successful, because in the playoffs, like,
that wins.
It's a crap. Think about it. Offensively, it's a crapshoot.
100%.
It's a crapshoot.
100%.
Like in 2018, Brock Holt was like winning games for the Red Sox. You know what I mean? Like, it's never really the guys that you think it's going to be, because
look at Yankee history of the biggest hits. Most of them are not from stars.
A bunch of random names. I mean, one of them is our manager.
Louis Soho, John Flattery. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of them, that we can go over that we're not this huge star of the club.
Exactly. But then think about those timeless pitching performances.
Of course.
And those are the names that you already
knew. That's right.
Those are the names that you already knew.
That's right.
That's how you have to go about it. Like Cole, unfortunately, like whether people agree with this or not, like Cole on the mound is just it's just a much bigger commodity. So if you got to take a concession, you take a concession.
And the way you see it is grounded out. Grounded out. All right, so that's a bit heartbreaking after all that.
Yeesh.
4, he goes, gives him the 1 fastball to hit, 3 sliders after that, which is, again, I mean, hey, man, at the end of the day, I give credit to a guy like Alex Cora. I mean, now anybody could sit there and say, he just brought a pitcher in. He has balls to do it. You know what I mean? I feel like, and I don't know.
How could go wrong?
I mean, when I don't sit there and watch Red Sox games all day, but I do watch the games the Yankees play the Red Sox, and nobody can tell me that Aaron Boone is not outmanaged almost every single game when it comes to Alex Cora.
So far this season,
even the first year.
I don't know that since Cora has taken over for the Red Sox that Aaron Boone has outmanaged him in any of their matchups.
It was even the first year of when Cora, they were both new managers, and Cora just outclassed them. I mean, you could just tell there's so many different things.
2018.
So I mean, there's so many different things there. My father, I get a text from my dad out of nowhere. This team sucks. Hey, you're the heart of all of us right now. Pops, Pops knows, man.
I feel you, man. Listen, this is what can we say? At the end of the day, like we're about to, because we're going to the bottom of the 8th, so we got 3 more outs.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna call it until it's called, but like if this does go down as another Yankee loss to the Red Sox, like, then so far on the season, we'd be 0-5 against this team. And that's just what we were just saying about, like, Boone not being able to, like, outmanage guys. Now, again,
I just don't feel like he's even managing.
The games are played on the field.
Difference for me. I feel like he's not doing, like, he's not in control of nothing.
He's not.
He can't be. I mean, I watch it. I watch him like this.
Things.
You can see the difference. You can literally.
That's where like I argue with people because they want to tell me like, oh, like when I say, well, Boone doesn't really do it, they're like, oh, nobody does anything anymore. It's all analytics. I'm like, that's not true. I'm sorry, but you can't tell me that Kevin Cash is not making calls. You can't tell me that Cora is not making calls. You can't tell me that Dave Roberts is not calling shots. Like, these guys are calling shots. Now, do analytics play a lot into their decision-making process? 100%.
Of course.
But they also know when to go off of gut and to put the spreadsheet down, and they do it really well. Whereas Boone, I feel like they don't even give him that enough of the leash to do that. They're like, nah, we're just gonna, we're gonna go with this plan. We're gonna stick with this plan, and that's it. And I think it's
obvious. It looks that way. I mean, look, if an apple is an apple and it looks like an apple, tastes like an apple, it's probably an apple. And I mean, everything that we see from Boone, it's like, somebody else is running this ship because something looks wrong here. I mean, it's obvious.
And they're running it terribly, and then he's taking the fall for it.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it, man. That's like
I would have come out a long time.
100%.
Instead, like, listen, guys, I don't make the lineup, or I don't make the decisions on with the bullpen usage. I'm sorry, I don't. a long time ago.
I told you guys during the Nights of the Round Table, I said it. I said I would literally go to Cashman one-on-one. I say, look, either I make decisions now or we're done. I can't do this no more. I can't do this. I can't take this beat down for decisions I'm not making. And then I'm here looking like a moron trying to answer questions.
Exactly.
I can't do it. I can't do that to myself. I can't do that to my family. Like,
it's like he has to answer for choices that aren't even his.
Right.
And it's like, and then we watch it, and it's like, then you got guys like us who like we're real fans, but then like we do things like this podcast or Nights Around, and we have to discuss this stuff, and you're not going to be painted in a positive light, my guy. I'm sorry, but we're not. We don't want to talk about like you commenting that you were bullied by an umpire. We don't want to talk about that how you think the lineup is turning a corner when it's like it's the same thing. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, yes. As of late, right, where we're recording this podcast, like the Yankees have been playing more or less okay, decent baseball. They have a couple come from behind wins and things like that. But we're not kidding ourselves either. Like this team still should not be in the position that they're in right now.
Not at all. And
a lot of that has to do with our management.
And that's going to lead into what our last topic of the day is, and this one might take a little bit of time to talk about. I'm sure fans are going to be very interested, but it's a major question, right? Is this a wild card club or is this a division winner? I mean, at some point of the year, especially towards the deadline, don't you got to try to make that logical step? Don't you got to understand? You got to look at your club and go, okay, this is where we are. You know what I mean? This is who we are. Let's look at who we're not performing against. What is the reason why, and what is realistic on the market? If we do go out there to look to be, by the way, Albert Abreu better, always doing better in the major leagues than he was in AAA, which is funny, but he got a legit stuff.
I'm happy for him.
But that's one of the things that I continue to see from this club, and I keep saying, like I heard Brian Cashman today coming out saying, nothing is really close. I thought a couple of days ago there was supposed to be a couple of weeks ago, your comments sounded a little different. Mm-hmm. He sounded very different on his comments. Or now today, he comes out, nothing is really close and things should pick up again after the draft. Okay, that's July 11th through the 13th. This team, again, that's still about 2.5 weeks or so. We could be under 500 by then. It's realistic. If we lose today, we're only 4 over. So we could potentially be a 500 club or under that. So at some point, you have realistic expectations of what do we do, and are we a legit contender, or are we possibly this team that blossoms very, very late? Do we believe that is a possibility? Do we feel we can make the moves enough to make that a possibility? We hear today that Kluber could be back in August or September. Severino could also be back. You looking at the club right now, what do you think? Do you think this team is undoubtedly a contender in the sense of a division winner or a wild card scrap team that will look to fight its way through?
I mean,
I don't see division winner, so I'm sorry to jump ahead. I don't see division winner right now. From what we are right now, after the deadline, we'll see. I don't see division winner. Simple as that. I don't. Honestly,
it's funny because when we were like discussing topics that we wanted to like bring up in the first episode, right? I thought about this question, and I thought about it before this Boston series started, and I said, the way that we played Toronto, right? The way that we played Kansas City, I was like, we're gonna go into Boston, and we're taking 2 out of 3 in Boston,
right?
And when we do that, that is going to like really be big for this team, and then that will make me like believe a little more going into July that we can make a serious run and maybe be in the division. Now, don't get me wrong. In this division this year, is 5 games out, 6 games out. Like, is that the end all be all? Actually, no.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Like we've been, I think at this one point we're like 9.5 out, right? Like and then we got back to like just 4 out. Like,
you could do it. They could do it.
In this division, right? Like Tampa Bay is reeling right now because of like the loss of Glass now, and like the hitters are striking out a lot or whatever, but now they just got the injection of Wander Franco, so we got to see what that does for them offensively. But their pitching has still been like not really that good this year. The only ones that can't hit them is us.
Speaking of the Rays, really quickly, and I'll just throw this out there because this actually goes along with what you're saying. Do you know ever since the spider tack issue, they've been horrible. They've been really bad. Like, all the peripheral stats are very, very bad. Huge difference. I don't know if that's a correlation. I don't know if it's a correlation. I don't know.
No, but
teams could go up and down.
It's just an observation.
It's an observation. So
it's just an observation.
The same
way that everybody's observing that Cole's RPMs are down 200-300 every time.
Yep.
Okay, observe it. But Cole's still been effective to me. Like, the reason that we've lost Cole starts is because the offense doesn't back him up or the bullpen blows it up.
Right.
But he's still been effective enough to win games. Right. He hasn't gotten rocked. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, I think the last time that we saw him giving up a bunch of runs was like in Texas, and this was prior to all of that nonsense.
Right.
But the Rays, it's interesting that their pitching is struggling the way it is. But again, I think that's what kind of keeps us around them in terms of the division. I think the issue with Boston is that they'll struggle to pull away because their pitching is so bad. Mm-hmm. But what our issue is always going to remain to be is the fact that, like, we get fat against the Detroits and against maybe the Kansas Cities and the Orioles and things like that. It's like
Twins.
We can't, the Twins, but if we can't beat Boston and Tampa Bay and the Blue Jays with consistency,
it doesn't matter.
It's not gonna matter. I mean, we could end up drawing one of them in the ALDS and what? Like, you beat everybody, but then you can't beat Boston. Like, you mean to tell me that? And up until now, they've done nothing to show me that if we drew Boston in the ALDS, that we would beat them.
Right, 100%.
I'm sorry. Right. Like, I believe in my heart of hearts that we win Game 1 because Garrett Cole is just that damn good, and then after that, I don't know.
Well, you can make it sound even scarier. What if Garrett Cole has to pitch a wild card game? Then you know what I mean?
And that's a real possibility with this.
And
team,
people,
like you said,
people would probably
winner seems like a far-fetched idea.
100%. And wild card might be scary too. I mean, you got Cleveland that is actually playing a little better now. That's creeping up on the White Sox. You got Oakland playing good baseball. Houston's doing well again. Tampa, but even in the East, it's still a 14 race. Toronto's still in. That offense you can never count out. And if they get some pitching, and they've been guys at the deadline who's done well, who's went out there, so they can still do the same thing, and they can really catch fire quick. So, where the Yankees stand right now, we're looking at these projections that we're talking about. Like when we say if Cole pitches game, a wild card game, let's just say for an example, wild card game, you can't pitch the first game of the ALDS, but we don't know who that other starter might be. But if we're looking at the club right now, I mean, you kind of sit back and hope. It'll be almost sad watching a Yankee club that way in the postseason because you're almost like, I want to win. I don't expect it. It'll be great if we do.
Exactly.
It'll be like it'll be like that type of expectation.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, is that if that was my feeling this year going into the playoffs, I just wouldn't know what to do with myself because it's been the same thing all for the last, I don't know how many years that we go to the playoffs and I'm just like, we just don't have the pitching. We just don't have the pitching. We just don't have the pitching. I'm sick and tired of it. I just like, it's like, okay, now we have Garrett Cole. It's like, okay, we have Cole, man. We have our Game 1, Game 4, Game 7 guy if necessary, right? But we still need that second guy. And it's like, we're waiting for Sevy to come back, but we don't know if when he comes back, you know what I mean? Like, I want him to be like me. With all my heart, I want Sevy to freaking come back and be Sevy from the first half of 2017.
Right.
Like that, because that with Garrett Cole at the top
would be amazing.
Is lethal. And don't let them make a trade. Don't let them make a trade for like another guy out there. Like they brought up like Barrios or whatever is a possibility, whatever. You make a trade for a guy like that and he's your number 3.
So that's how you win. That's how you
win.
win.
If you have Garrett Cole prime, Severino prime, and then Barrios, like, bro, that's
or Max.
Tough.
Or Max.
If you get Max,
because isn't that the new thing that they came out recently with, the saying that if he does get traded, he just wants a contract extension. That's the way he'll go about it. I mean, look, hey, I'd be more than okay. I'd be more than okay with giving up a few things to get Scherzer for 3 years with Cole. I'd be okay with that. Look. because he's not one of these guys that's aging in a sense of like, man, you could see that decline. It's like now that tip is coming. You don't see that with this dude right now. You're not seeing that.
Even with the age thing though, like there's too much.
I'm tired. Man, I'm so happy you bring this up. I'm tired of the age stuff. I am.
There's too much technology and stuff like that. Like I don't want to hear about this age thing because we're seeing people defy it in baseball.
I hate it.
Like never before. Verlander. Listen, I'm not the biggest Verlander fan out there. I'm like that's just not my guy in a sense. Like I'm a fan of.
Right.
But I will never disrespect what that guy does on a freaking baseball diamond. It is ridiculous that he is pitching. That he pitches the way that he pitches at the age. Like, yes, now he's injured or whatever. So some people would say, oh, but you see, like he's catching up to him, whatever. Even if he never comes back, what he did these last couple of years leading up to that leads me to believe that Garrett Cole contract is going to be just fine.
Yeah, 100%.
The technology's only going to get better.
That too, and I mean, you can look at some of these guys and you're like, he's going to be okay. That's why I said when the Yankees got a guy like LeMahieu, look at LeMahieu. LeMahieu's built like a tank. I mean, he's like everybody you hear talk about LeMahieu. When you see him in person, he's way bigger. He got huge hands. He's in great shape. Yeah. He doesn't have an injury history, knock on wood, thankfully. Yeah. A guy like Garrett Cole, too. You know, the guy's a workhorse. He's naturally a workhorse. Is who he is. Max Scherzer the same. He's in great shape. But then again, you know, Bartolo Colon could probably still be pitching for some clubs, to be honest. I mean,
he's pitching in Mexico. He's doing his thing.
Exactly. He's still out there doing it. I think he was throwing the other day and still doing well. So, I mean, like you said, there's different technologies, different ways to take care of your body nowadays, and guys never knew before. And guys are starting this younger now, so it's extending them a little longer. I'm
sorry. It's like people just want to like stick to like this old way of thinking when it comes to like, nah, this guy's too old. And that guy, I don't want to hear it. Like when it comes to Max Scherzer,
I feel like that's a new age of thinking, actually, instead of more of a. The reason
it's true actually.
Well, because we saw guys, you know, go into their 36s. Now it's like you got, and I don't even want to bring his name up because I don't even try to talk about him anymore. But 32, oh, he's declining. It's time to move him. Or this guy's getting too old now. You got to get younger guys in it. Like what? How young? Like, not everybody's Franco who's coming up at 18. Yeah. Not everybody has guys like that.
They're getting like drunk off of this idea with the young players. It's like, don't you realize that the only reason that's so spectacular is because it doesn't happen? Like the reason that we fan out over Tatis Jr. is because that doesn't happen.
It's a rarity.
Over Vladdy Jr. Like
that's right.
That's rare. Like that's why we go crazy for it. And it's
I love them. I love them.
It doesn't happen.
And I love them all. They're awesome.
They think we're just supposed to like have that. Basically, like no. You're like your whole team is supposed to be a bunch of Vladdies, Tatis Jr.'s, you know. Bo Bichette's and Ronald Acuña's, and it's like that doesn't like that's not, you don't just find Juan Soto you know what I mean, like that's why we celebrate it because it's few and far between, and that's why it's like, you know, you if you have it, you rejoice and you maximize it, and if you don't, you make do with what you have. And I think looking at a player and saying I don't know, like that thing that the Yankees have been doing for years, like pitching over 30, we don't want to really like come in. It's like, hey, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, especially not when it comes to a Max Scherzer.
No, not at all.
Especially not when it comes. And when and if he does come over here and he does have a bad start or whatever, I don't want to see the fan base, like, because Max has done this his entire career where he'll be dominant, whatever, and then he'll turn into clunker.
Yeah,
I don't care.
But
when it comes to playoff time, I like that guy.
Give me that chance. That's all I ask.
Exactly.
Give me that chance. Because it's like you said, man. And I'll be honest with you. Even if, let's say, Severino doesn't come back, if we could get lucky and get a few more good starts from a healthy Kluber, I'm even okay with a Cole Scherzer Kluber, a Cole Berrios Kluber. I'm more than okay with that than I am right now with where they are at this moment. But there's one big if here. There's a major if that we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Brian Cashman. Is he the guy to make these deals? Would the Yankees even do it? Would the Yankees even take on a contract right now? Would they even say, yeah, let's open season for a contract extension right now? We don't know what it's going to look like next year. I am not confident enough. And people could sit here and be like, well, you know, Cashman's done these good moves before. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. And I'm not discrediting that. I'm discrediting all the pitchers he's missed. So Felix makes me hear this all the time because he called it. And he called, and I'm sure the tweet's out there somewhere. And the instant messaging back and forth is definitely there between us. Because I told him when the Yankees got Sonny Gray was going to be legit. He was going to be what the Yankees need. He was going to work out very well, okay? We know that didn't work, okay? Felix told me, no, the deal, whoever, and this was his exact words, I remember, so I'm going to give him credit. His words that year was, whoever gets Justin Verlander is going to win the World Series. And he was right.
He was right.
And he said it then. Him coming to the Yankees would ignite him. Whatever team he goes to, you're going to see a different pitcher. And he was right. He was right. But going throughout the years, you have Max Scherzer as a miss. You have Verlander as a miss. There's just so many names out there that are complete misses. Even I'll go over a little name that I've mentioned this to you guys a lot. Robbie Ray, who's pitched good, who was also somewhat of a miss because I'd rather have him in his rotation as some guys right now. And there's just guys out there. I don't know if Brian Cashman is the guy that can go out there and, let's say, for an example, get an Adam Frazier and a starter, to get a Starlin Marte and a starter. I don't know if he's that guy. But I tell you what, man, and I don't know if we're going to see it. I hope we do at some point. I think there's some answers on the offensive side in the minor leagues, but they're refusing to give these guys a chance. I don't know why.
I think
on the offensive side, pitching not as much, but definitely on the offensive side.
No, the pitching and for those of you fans who will say like, but we have these guys who are really like killing things in minor league pitching, they're actually not ready. And you know that me and Pete have been guys who have really championed like calling up the kids and things like that. But if trust us, if we're telling you that the pitching that we have in the minor leagues right now is not ready, they're not.
They're not.
Like, those guys are young. I don't want to see them. Yeah,
you can't call up. Like, I see some people saying Luis Hill is pitching great. Can't call him up yet. Luis Medina, nowhere near ready. He needs a lot more seasoning left.
The thing that, and that's where, like, the points that guys like Austin make or whatever about the mental being an issue. It's like with a pitcher, it's big. Very it's much. Really big.
Look at David Garcia. I mean, let's throw that one out there. I mean, right now, I mean, he might be demoted to Double-A at some point. I mean, he really might be. He might need that. Yeah. He might need to build some confidence somewhere.
Davey is definitely broken right now, and you know what I mean? Like,
Clark Schmidt was the only guy that had a shot, and he's nowhere near pitching yet, and he's weeks away.
Exactly. So, he's still far. Exactly. Like, Clark is a guy where I could say, yeah, like if you're talking Clark, yeah. But then when it comes to the hitters, like, yes, there are guys that are ready. I mean, you got Park, you got Ambergy. These guys are doing well. Yes.
Who's getting hot now? He's finally learning this level. He's getting hot at AAA.
Exactly.
He's walking too, which is nice.
This is what we were saying at the beginning of the year. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, like, you know, like I'm not happy that he's doing this at AAA. But I feel like if he would have gotten extended time here in the majors, he would have probably figured it out here too. Because I think that flow is ready.
He's impressive. The more I see of him, the more impressed I get. He's an impressive kid. He's going to be good. He's going to be good at some point somewhere. He's going to be good.
So I'm trying to figure out if it's that they don't want to call these guys up because Cashman is thinking like, I can really like parlay these guys into like some good deals at the deadline.
I heard that about Park. Park recently.
I've been hearing that about Park. Well, not hearing, but like seeing on Twitter, like, well, he's probably going to trade Park. He's probably going to
what did DJ do? What did DJ do?
I don't know. It was 3-2.
Singles. Another run. All right, we're getting closer. We need one more.
The decline.
What is it, 4-2 now?
The decline. It's 4-2.
4-2. So DJ 4 for 5. This is the game we need. Remember I said it? I said he needs one big game and then get going. He needs a few games in a row. 271 now. The average is creeping up. All right, DJ doing what he got to do, passing the baton.
The decline.
The decline. Decline LeMahieu.
I swear, if I have to hear that again from this guy. But I think those guys, if they are going to trade them, then I hope that they do move them because like this is starting to smell like that typical Yankee thing that we do where it's like the hype is there. They get hot. They get ready. We don't call them up. By the time we do call them up, they're like a bust. And it's just like, wait, what? Like whatever. And it's not because they suck. It's because we missed the train.
Yep.
Like we missed the time. Yep. And it's like, yo, if these guys like Park looks really freaking good. Like he looks really freaking good. Like to the point where if we could find a trade for Gleyber that made sense for us and we moved him out of the spot and put Park up, I wouldn't be mad at that. And I know some people are going to say, are you crazy? Gleyber Torres? That's fine.
Well, I was talking to some people about Park the other day. And I think I either retweeted something that some people started asking me questions about him. His numbers aren't good. They're extraordinary.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beyond levels of decent. I mean, this guy, he's doing everything. He hits the ball. He hits for power now. He's stinging the ball everywhere. He fields really good. He's also been out in center field now. So they got this guy all over the place now. So
he's a real shortstop.
And he's he's a good defensive shortstop. He's playing all over the place. So it comes back to what we talked about before. I'm almost at the point now where I'm like, if we can get some pitching, maybe giving up some of the lower level guys, getting a Berrios or maybe a Scherzer would be amazing. If we can hold on to a Park or maybe even not even necessarily a Park, more of a Florial type or a Trey Ambergy, and one of those guys can possibly also get called up at the same time as these trades happen. So you add something new to your lineup, add a different dynamic to your lineup, and then, rejuvenate the staff. I could almost see that as something that would really be like the Yankees getting off of a life support almost and kind of breathing some fresh air again and having some new life to them. Yeah. I think that's also an option. But again, I just go back to the same thing. I don't know if B Cash is that guy. I don't know if he's that guy anymore.
I can't see like what holds him back. Like if I'm Cashman at this point and I know that Scherzer is available,
definitely available.
Like I don't know how I can let myself not make that deal. Like I have to find a way to make that deal. Like unless
Little Stein tells you no, and if he tells me no, I gotta be like, well, we gotta we gotta let them know that. Like that's something I'm not looking stupid for. If I go
to Hal and Hal says no, then I just gotta come out and say, listen, Mr. Steinbrenner was not comfortable spending that kind of money this year. Like simple as that. And it might sound like throwing him under the bus.
Hey,
if I'm Cashman, I can't let that be the narrative. The whole narrative about this guy is that he can never make the deal for the pitcher.
Yep, that's right.
Like if Scherzer's there, you like kind of have to do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like unless, of course, Steinbrenner puts the brakes on it. But that's the only thing that I could see stopping me if I was in Cashman's shoes from making the deal for Scherzer.
I mean, that would be so bad though. If it ever would have come out and Cashman's like, we had the deal on the table, but we couldn't move forward an extension or something like that. That would be disgusting. That would be, my goodness, that would be horrible. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's kind of like what you said too. Cashman is probably working on what could potentially be his last year with the Yankees. I mean, there is a chance these guys could be fired, and he could be one of them. I mean, I don't see how he's not on the hot seat. He has to be. He put this team together.
Oh, that's it. Game over. Judge struck out, swinging at a sinker, apparently.
All right. Well, we lose that one. Tomorrow's I'm gonna be like Aaron Boone. I think we had some good at bats today. We had some good at bats. Tomorrow's another day. The good thing is we get to wake up early and get on the baseball field.
Yeah. I just listen. And more optimistic things though. If we are shocked at the deadline and Brian Cashman does become an actual wheeling and dealing general manager, this team is not that far off.
No, they're not. That's why I'm totally against the idea of selling. I'm totally 100%. Against the now. No. Let me rephrase that. I'm not against the idea of if they wanted to sell off some pieces that aren't going to make sense for the next 2 to 3 years. Then I'm obviously okay with that.
That's not selling.
That's not selling, exactly.
That's retooling.
Retooling,
yeah, exactly.
And what people don't understand is that you can retool to win. Just because you're giving up on what's in front of you now, and not necessarily even giving up on it, you're basically just saying some of the pieces that don't make sense going forward, we're going to let them go. But we're still looking to add to this club for the next couple of years to come. So those moves are also still out there.
The Dodgers did it. That's what I don't understand. Like why people look at it like it's not like doable. Like the Dodgers traded for Machado. They had Machado. Machado walked and signed somewhere, whatever. Then the year after they trade for Mookie. They're like, you know what? We actually want to keep this guy. So they sign him big and they keep him or whatever. And then I forget who the outfielder was, but they let guys that they had walk and they've retooled
100%.
Like,
They've done
why
it
do
right.
people against it with the Yankees?
Yeah.
Like, we can't do it. We either have to sell everything and start from the beginning, or like it doesn't work. There are some very, very good foundational pieces here.
No doubt about it. And there's also some foundational pieces that you might have to make a tough call on.
Oh, that is
Gleyber Torres being a major
certain.
one. I mean,
Yeah.
Gleyber Torres is a major one because right now, you almost and we've talked about this a lot, but the reason you talk about it is because going forward it's going to have to be addressed. We know that's going to have to be addressed at some point, right? So you look at the Yankees infield and you sit there and say to yourself, let's see how Luke Voit finishes this year, right? Let's see how Luke Voit looks. Let's see how he finishes. Let's see if this guy is the future at first base for us for years and years to come. Maybe he would be. Who knows? You look at DJ LeMahieu because you got the easy decision on LeMahieu. You know he signed, right? You know at some point he might start slowing down a little bit when it comes to the defense range-wise. Then you shift him over to first base, and he's probably a legitimate first baseman. Right now, I think he'd be a legitimate first baseman. But you look at all that, and then you say to yourself, where does Gleyber fit in? Where does he fit in? And at what point do you as a general manager say, now has to be the time? If I can go out there and trade this guy for a legitimate young starting pitcher, or I said this before, if he could be part of a deal for a Ketel Marte, you almost have to do it. You almost have to.
Yeah, but
if you want to win, if you want to be cute, let's get in the mindset of some of these nutcase Yankee fans real quick.
Yeah.
We want to be cute, right? So we want to have this. We want to be so smart that we get these young AA guys that come up and do great. That's a very high unlikelihood of ever happening. But we want to play it that way. If you want to play it like that, you're not looking to win for one. You're not looking to create a dynamic team for years and years to come. The Yankees' goal here is to win with Garrett Cole because that huge contract was signed to win. They didn't sign that contract just to be cute. They didn't look for headlines. They knew they needed an ace. They got the ace. They got to win with this ace. Exactly. And that's the type of decision you have to make as a GM of this club right now.
I think with it's not just to me. It's not even just because it's Cole. There's Stanton. Like
all those, I agree.
Like those
Judge
those
is soon his window's closing
money,
with this club. Yeah,
those big money contracts. Like, how do you justify them? By winning a ring.
That's right.
Simple as that.
Right. That's all there is to it.
I think that comes with making tough decisions, like Gleyber Torres. I remember, like when we were talking about this early on, like with the first round table, like who's the odd man out? Is it Luke Voit? Is it Gleyber Torres or whatever? I feel like it's becoming increasingly more obvious that it has to be Gleyber Torres. Like, look, Luke Voit has been back, a couple games. He's hit a couple. He hit a home run. And, he's got a couple of hits so far. It's not doing anything too ridiculous, like whatever right now. But his presence in the lineup to me is already bigger than what Gleyber Torres has been this year, right? And you just see like guys respond to Voit. Like this team responds to Voit. He has a strong voice. He has character. He has whatever. Gleyber, yes, he has relationships with people, but I don't think he has the effect on our lineup that somebody like a Voit does. And that's, to me, unfortunately, makes him a little bit more expendable than a guy like Voit, especially when Gleyber's not playing to his potential right now. Right. Now, some people would say, well, then if you're selling them now, you're going to sell low. But it's like, can you afford to wait and see if you can sell high?
And that's the question. That's the question.
Like, I think if I'm Brian Cashman, my whole thing is, listen, Gleyber Torres still has some years of control left. Gleyber Torres' potential is through the roof.
Still there. That hasn't changed.
There's not a GM in baseball who doesn't realize that Gleyber Torres has the ridiculous potential to be a superstar in this league. But what he is defensively at this point is probably what he's going to be, right? And can we afford to have that a part of our core that we have right now? Like what works, I forget the saying, like what's good for the goose isn't necessarily good for the gander.
Right.
But I think that's the case. Like Gleyber Torres might fit very well with another team who can sacrifice maybe defensively the glove at short and have him batting in a position in the lineup where like he can have an approach that he seems to like more or whatever. but I don't think we can at this point. Like, I think we
No,
need a good
right.
defensive glove at shortstop,
Right.
and we need a consistent contact hitter. We
No
don't
doubt.
need another. We don't need another power guy.
No doubt.
We don't
I
need another
I
power
agree
guy.
with you 100%,
Yeah.
and that's the
So
big thing.
maybe that means moving him.
Maybe it does. And I mean,
Maybe
look,
that
I think at the end of the day, if you can add a starter for him, you go out there and do it. There's a lot of names out there that could be possibilities. And like you said before, clubs know the value. Clubs know the value. But also there's another thing too, where there's a player in the minor leagues who might make that decision a little more easy for the Yankees. And his name is Oswald Peraza, who went from A ball this year, just dominated it, right? Went up to Double A. They said, "Oh man, he's struggling at the gate," and the manager's been like, "No, I'm not. I'm just warming up, baby." And now he's smacking the ball left and right, and he's nonstop.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just tearing the cover off the ball everywhere. And this is not a fringe guy, and I say fringe guy because Ahoy Park has been that. He's been an organizational guy almost up to this point. When he's really come around now, and he's still young, but he's in his mid to high 20s. But he's coming around now. But Peraza is one of the Yankees' top prospects. He's actually their top offensive hitting prospect. He's the top offensive prospect.
Yeah.
And he's putting everything together this year. The power has came now. The power is here. We're seeing him, play great defense. Doubles machine, putting the ball in play. He's not striking out a ton or an alarming amount. He's walking. He's doing everything you need him to do. Getting big clutch hits. So he's doing everything for Somerset right now. Mm-hmm. And he's looking terrific. But a guy like that can make things feel a little different. You know what I mean? He can make things feel different if you're a GM. You can almost, rely on that even more. You could even say along the lines, well, we made this move because we do have some guys coming up in the system that we feel are very close that can fill that. We thought that was the bigger need at the moment. So there is ways to go. And I tell you what, I wouldn't be mad at Brian Cashman if they made a move like that. I wouldn't be upset with him.
No, my whole thing is like, I would actually, whether it worked out or didn't, right? Moving Gleyber Torres, I would be okay just knowing like that they actually made, like they took a chance. They took a leap.
That's right.
And said, all right, let's try to do something. Like, we got to do something here. We got to get creative, right? Hey, like let's put feelers out on Gleyber Torres. Let's see like what we can get for him. And then, we're gonna get this deal. Let's make this deal, right? If it gets you into like talks for a good pitcher, like, and you make that deal, and I like it. Why? Because it's out of the box. Like, a lot of these deals, like it's a shame that like we get every year, like we as fans like start thinking about what's the Cashman deal, like what's the Cashman deal that he's gonna like. We can almost telegraph like, oh, he's gonna like get this hitter or that guy, or whatever. And it's like, I don't like that, because if we do that as fans, you telling me other organizations aren't doing that they're not guessing like Cashman's probably gonna do this or whatever. So if you're up in Buffalo or wherever the Blue Jays are playing these days, you're telling me they don't really have an idea of like who the Yankees will be targeting or whatever, so they know really like what they have to give up or don't have to give up in conversations about a certain player. Like, we've got to get better as an organization with stuff like that. And I think making a move on a guy like Gleyber Torres really have a ripple effect on the league, because they'll be like, whoa.
I think the league and I think the organization in general.
Yeah,
I think the
organization
I
think it sends a good message too. Like,
it does.
Hey, we really like this kid. We really like them. We love this potential, whatever, but it didn't work out. And when that happens, we're going to move on from you. And that says to the guys coming up, like, hey, you could have all the talent in the world. You can have all the potential in the world. But if we see that you're not a fit, we'll move you.
That's right.
Right?
That's
because
right.
No one player is bigger than this brand. And
I'm all for that. I've been trying to preach that for years now, of saying that these guys shouldn't just be given a spot. It shouldn't be that easy as, hey, you're the starting catcher, or hey, you're the starting first baseman. It shouldn't be that easy.
New York Yankees, you should earn that.
I mean, do we think there's any correlation that Gary Sanchez started to smack the ball after he lost his starting gig?
Of course.
I mean, is there not? Are we going to sit here and believe that maybe that wasn't the kick in the ass that Gary needed? Yeah. To say enough is enough. Maybe I want to be better than this. I don't want to be this guy that people see as this waste of talent. I don't want to be that guy.
And yet they killed Girardi when he would get on him. But it's like, unfortunately,
he needed it.
That's what Gary responds to. And if that's what he responds to, then that's what he needs.
And like him and Tony Pena, they tried to whip him into shape. I mean, they did. They made sure he heard everything he did wrong.
Yeah. Listen, if you have to make moves like that send a message to your players, like, then those are things that need to get done, because this is a major league club. And I think at this stage in the game, right, we're talking about not going to a World Series since 2009. Like, that's unacceptable.
Oof.
Like, there's people who are out there who would argue and say, "Oh, is that you Yankees fans are spoiled and you guys are winning every year and whatever." It's like, what you consider winning as a fan of maybe the Mets or I don't know what team,
right?
it's very different from what we
different.
consider winning. So I'm sorry if in your eyes they're doing enough and we should be satisfied. No, man, screw you. Be satisfied when your team does it.
Yeah.
I'm a Yankee fan. I've been raised by this club to expect a certain level of excellence.
That's right. That's
and this just hasn't been it. Like, not making a World Series.
Bro, they get on me too. You know, they get on me. And I honestly say, look, man, this podcast, you came up with the name. You came up with this name, Designated Spittaz. And the reason why we spit facts. We try to spit nothing but facts. Whether you like them or not, we're going to give you facts about it.
Facts.
And I remember when I talked about that, and I said this whole idea that this philosophy is now that it's okay to get to the playoffs and lose. All I say is go look at Derek Jeter. Go.
Yeah.
That's it. Go look at a leader like Derek Jeter. He was no different than George Steinbrenner. Who do you think he learned it from? He had a lot of that in his heart, but he got paired with the best guy.
My issue is that people will accept it from Jeter. They'll accept it from Jordan. But then when we as fans demand it,
we're wrong.
Oh, we're being ungrateful. No, excuse me.
We're spoiled, the Yankee fans. Yeah,
we're not spoiled and we're not ungrateful.
Right,
like,
exactly.
It's that we grew up on Derek Jeter. So the same way that Derek Jeter sits in that interview and says, "What are you celebrating for? You lost." That's the kind of fans that we are. What are we celebrating for if we didn't win?
Let me share this real quick. This was kind of funny. My man, and I like him. I got nothing against it, but it was kind of funny to me. Yeah. My man retweeted me, and I think I told you guys about this. My man is doing the Derek Jeter documentary, right? He's doing the Derek Jeter documentary.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my man started like bagging on me about like talking about the winning mentality. I'm like, my man, how are you gonna ask Derek Jeter about the winning mentality? You're doing this documentary. Like,
how are you doing the documentary?
First of all, I think he did the one on Michael Jordan. Now you're doing the one on Jeter. Like, you talking about two guys with like maybe the greatest sports mentality and mindset of all time. And you getting upset that a fan is talking about, if it's a win, it's a win. If it's a loss, the season's over. It's a failure. I don't care if you won 118 games. If you don't win the championship at the end, you failed.
Listen, that's just how it goes. Like, again, like I said, if there's any people listening to this podcast who don't happen to be Yankee fans, who don't happen to understand like where we're coming from, listen, man, I feel sorry for you, because
I would hate to be that way.
You didn't have the upbringing that I had or whatever.
Right.
So I actually feel sorry for you, because when I grew up, I saw a franchise that I was honored to be a fan of. Like, I was walking around on cloud nine. I was just like, bro, like, you could be a fan of whoever, bro. If you're not a fan of the Yankees, you're not on our level, bro. Like, my team delivers. They deliver. Like, we put the right guy in the right spot. We win big games. We got big time pitchers, big time hitters, big time arms coming out of the bullpen, bro. Like, you can't touch us. Like,
we just have winners. I mean, and
that's it. We're just winners.
And that's why I get almost like I don't get mad about it. It's like I almost want to teach about it, because I feel like there's so many people that it's like this new, like, even when they talk about the hair policy and the business-like atmosphere, but that's what made them who they are. Yeah. So this organization has developed that mentality. It's a philosophy of when you come here, you win. That interview with George Steinbrenner, and look, and I'm not. People get mad too when you bring up George Steinbrenner, because there was a lot of things he done wrong. I'm not saying there wasn't. I'm not saying that he didn't do things wrong. Yeah. But at the end of the day, George wanted to win. Can anybody say he didn't? Even when he traded guys, he did the move. He had the balls to do a move he thought would work. If it didn't work, then it didn't work. But George wanted to win. That's what I'm talking about when I bring up George Steinbrenner. I'm saying that mentality of we win no matter what. Do you think George Steinbrenner would have been like right now, we coming up at a deadline, this team isn't performing? Anyway, they would have had a whole new coaching staff, but we know that already. I think Cash would have been gone years ago. But
probably
one thing he wouldn't be saying is that if a guy's available, we're not going to get him because there's a cap, or that we don't want to go over a certain amount. He would have been saying, no, you do whatever the hell you got to do. I don't care. Like, Like
does a
hearing
path exist for a Max Scherzer?
hearing that interview when he was like, they don't have to like me, but they're gonna respect me and they're gonna play for me. That's how it works. Because they live he even said it, like, he broke the whole, they live a great life. They come here to play a sport that we played as kids. They're getting paid to do it. All these things, all he expects from them is professionalism and to win. That's it. And I'm like, if a lot of the things the Yankees do now, look, maybe I'm more the old school type of mindset of a manager. I don't like the idea that these guys get on a little Game Boy Advance and start playing all day after a sweep. I don't like that. I don't think that's good. I don't like it. I would be Garrett Cole in that picture. He was pissed. You could tell his face. He was angry. He was like, what are you guys doing? I don't like it.
Why? My thing is like, all right, I don't, to be honest, I don't care about the gaming, but it's just like, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see
there
it.
You go. Like it's like this cool thing. Oh, look what the Yankees play video games too want to play. Look at that. Who cares?
You know what I mean? Like, oh, Gleyber Torres, you're so relatable, whatever. It's like, yeah, but I can't relate to your batting average right now, bro.
Right.
What
your real job is, I can't relate
what
to
I
that
want
right
to
now.
see. You know what I want to see? Like, and again, this is that spoiled bratty fan, whatever. Like, oh, like if you're showing me something of Gleyber Torres like after a game, I'd love it to be him looking at like game tape. That's what I'd love.
Me too.
But I realize that's a little bit of a utopian idea. So, I'd rather just not see it. I'd rather just not see anything.
Gleyber winning the Mushroom Cup in Mario Kart means nothing to me at all.
I don't care. Exactly.
You winning the Mushroom Cup, the Star Cup, whatever it is. I love Mario Kart, but I'm not getting paid to be the shortstop of the New York Yankees.
My whole thing is that's the point right there. It's like, look, like Garrett Cole goes about his freaking business, and then that's it. Like, he's got pictures, maybe, he's got a social media, whatever, like his wife, his kid, or whatever. That's it. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what Garrett Cole likes to do, like, after a game or kicking back. I have no idea. But you know what? I don't care.
Right.
Because the guy's a winner. I don't care.
Right,
but it's like when Gleyber Torres, if Gleyber Torres was hitting, I don't know, like 275, 280 with, like, 14, 13 home runs and, a decent amount of RBI and a nice OPS, around 800 or whatever, I wouldn't care if he was on the Game Boy on the plane. I wouldn't care. But, like, yes, we might have swept whoever, but like, he hasn't been hitting in a decent amount of games now. And, like, it's like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to see you doing that. Like, I'm sorry if that makes me the spoiled fan or whatever, like, oh, like, but he can't have a life too. Of course he can have a life. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying, like, think about it from the fan's perspective also. Like, I'm putting myself in his shoes, like, but I'm a baseball player. Like, I need to unwind. I need to relax. Or I get it. But you also don't need to, like, show me that, like, after a game, like, or after a loss, like, I see you, like, laughing and playing. Like, I don't want to see that. No, I'm sorry. As a fan, I don't want to see it.
That's who I am. And I mean, again, Francis, you spitting facts. I mean, you spitting facts. I mean, simple as that.
That's it, man.
I mean, we're 100% on the same page with stuff like that. I'm not okay with it. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's where this club is right now. So, look, man, it's gonna be interesting to see where this club goes in the next couple of weeks. And we've said it on a lot of the podcasts. We're still gonna have, just so everybody knows, we're looking to have this weekly. I still got to get some things straight, so I always like to be upfront and honest with the fans. I don't know how long the podcast takes to upload to get to iTunes and all that stuff, so I kind of want to make all these go live together. So we're going to learn and go and get to where we need to be with that, but we're still going to have the other podcast too, Nights at the Round Table. So we have a lot of stuff coming your guys' way, but these next couple of weeks are going to be interesting, so there's going to be a lot of conversation to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Going forward. So, I mean, as of right now, when I look at this roster, just to answer the question again, as we did early on, I just see a club that is vying for a possibility to get into the playoffs. I don't see a division winner right now. And again, look, Yankee bias aside, when I get on this show and I get behind this mic and I make videos, I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm realistic. I'm not going to sit here and just say, oh, I trust that this guy's going to come back and be great. I'm just going off, off of my eyes and ears and what I hear, what I see, and the product on the field that I'm watching that so much looks so inconsistent that I don't know. I'm not confident. I'm just not. I'm not confident Aaron Boone. I'm not confident in the coaching staff. I'm not confident in the way the players present themselves on the field. I'm just not overly confident with this team, and I don't expect much from them this year as of right now. I just don't.
And I think that's the qualifying part that I want, fans, listeners, that's the part you guys should be focusing on, right? We're saying right now, like based on what we're seeing right now, we don't see a division winner. Like Aaron Boone can say it till he's blue in the face, like, oh, I know the guys in that room, and that's fine. But we're judging what we're watching right now, today,
Facts.
June 26th or whatever. Like,
Facts.
so on today, is today June 26th?
I believe so, yeah.
It's Judah's birthday.
It is Judah's birthday. You know how I know that? My mom's dog was born the same day. So I used to grow up when I was growing up. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I was like, I got the dog's birthday, my favorite player's birthday.
Judah's birthday.
You know the story. You know that year when Judah struggled a lot. I got him out of that slump.
No.
That's true. I was at the game. I was at the game in Baltimore. Like it was in June. Remember he said like 189.
Yeah.
He was in like 189 in June. I was at the game in Baltimore.
Wow.
I was much younger then, okay? I was much younger then, okay? This is a different...
Listen, guys, you're in the presence of royalty then, because that is a big deal. That is a big
different
deal.
Time, okay? This is a different time. This is real.
Breaking a Jeter slump.
This is real, no joke. He signed my jersey that day, and I remember he was coming down the left field line, and my dad told me we were there early. He goes, go run out to left field and stay on the line. He's going to walk down. I said, all right, let me go. I ran down there. About maybe... Once I was first up there, he's coming out there. I see he's coming towards everybody. Everybody started crowding, but I was right there. I was right up front. Nobody could get in front of me. I gave him the thing. I said, Mr. Jeter. I tried to be as polite as possible. I said, Mr. Jeter, do me one favor today. Swing at the first pitch today, and it's gonna get you going. I promise. I could just feel it. I just said it. I don't know why. First pitch of the game, doubled off the wall, the left center field. Rest of the year batted about 340.
Wow, that's freaking nuts.
Hey. Take it as you want. Look,
an impromptu story, man. We should have definitely planned to say this story.
Was I the one? I don't know if I was the one, but guess who believes I was the one? I do, and that's all that matters. That's all that matters is that I believe I was the one. All right, so that's all that matters.
Nah, man, that's dope, and that's again. I was saying today that where we are today on Derek Jeter's birthday with the 2021 Yankees is what we're talking about, right? But if in 2 weeks they rattle, like if they went 13-1 or whatever, or like, I don't know, 12-3 or whatever, like we could probably sing a different tune. But as of right now,
of course,
on the captain's birthday,
look, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those fans that's gonna say, oh, if you're not saying they're gonna win now, don't go show up at the parade. That's not me. No, look, we're realistic. We're not stupid. We're realistic here, folks.
We're fans. Exactly. Fans don't have the right to get emotional and to go up and down. Like,
look, the longest running Yankee fan that I personally know is my father. Of course, I grew up with him my whole life. My father says the Yankees suck if they're 92-1 and guys come up and ground out. That's just who he is. My father would be the first one telling me, "Oh, they're a good team. We'll see what happens." He's a fan like everybody else. That's how I am. I'm the same way. Yeah. I'm the first one to sit there and say, "Man, come on, this team just." We're seeing the team on the field right now, and let's be real here. They're 4 games over 500. They're not good. They're not good right now.
Not good. I think everything we're saying is warranted.
100%.
And I think. Like, I like the point that you brought up, like with the whole people saying like, oh, well, if you're saying that now, don't show
I hate that.
That new age stuff you guys are doing to
That's
fans,
all I can say to that. Grow up.
You guys got to stop that. You got to stop that. Like, people are fans, and let people fan the way that they want to fan. I don't know if you guys realize the word fan is short for fanatic.
Exactly.
And fanatic means that you're a little bit crazy about.
Have you ever seen that movie? Don't look that movie up. It's with John Travolta. It's the worst damn thing you'll ever see in your life.
Oh,
if anybody has nothing to do today.
I completely forgot about this flick.
See, this is folks. This is why we do it. This is called chemistry. Okay.
Man.
Let me tell you something real quick.
Oh man.
If you do,
you guys
today,
should watch that movie.
Yeah, you guys who say that, watch that movie. Okay. So here's what you're gonna do. Look up the trailer, and if you see the trailer, you're just gonna want to see it because it's so insane. You gotta watch it.
You gotta
okay?
get through it. Yeah.
You're
Just to say you
wanna
saw.
see it. You're just gonna want to say it just to see you saw it. That's
Man.
hilarious that got
This is
brought
what
up.
I'm saying. All I'm saying is like, bro, like we're supposed to be a little bit, up and down and crazy because we are fanatics about our team. And right now, they're giving us the reason to be fanatics in a very negative way. Like,
right, 100%.
What do you want?
And again,
on the captain's birthday, people.
On the captain's birthday, we lose a game like this.
Come on.
Tomorrow, again, I mean, looking at that series finale, I'll throw it up on the screen again one more time for you guys. We got the man of the mound. Again, Garrett Cole. The Yankees are now 40-36. The Red Sox are 46-31. They're doing their thing. Look, tomorrow, Yankees, let me plead with you real quick, please. We're facing a guy that's a lefty. We don't have the excuse of, it's a tough righty that throws hard and he got stuff that breaks away from us. We're facing Rodriguez right now, who is 5-4 with a 6.07 ERA. All we need is a nice blowout. That's all I want. How many times have I told you guys that? I tweeted and I say it to you. I just want a relaxing blowout game. Is that all? Can I get that one night where we could sit there and say, man, our Yankees hit today. It's nice, isn't it? I remember how this feels. But we're facing Rodriguez. Can we get some runs? 6+ ERA. Let's do this. Since people are going to see this show probably after game time, maybe before game time, depending on how quick everything can get uploaded. Hey, the hell with it. Let's do it. What do the Yankees do against Rodriguez tomorrow? Are we going over or under 3 runs?
You know what?
I'm going to put us both on the spot because I do this. I tweet this out a lot, but now that this podcast is going to be booming, I'm going to let everybody get involved with us.
Yeah.
And see what we think.
I'm going to take the over. You know what? I'm feeling
good about the over, too.
Feeling good.
That's what I was going to say.
Take the over. I'm going to take the over.
If they don't hit Rodriguez tomorrow,
we just drive down to Fenway with a couple of 2x4s. And
that's it.
Maybe I'll leave the rest for off air.
What's the lady's name? Was it Nancy Kerrigan or whatever that did that busted a kneecap? Wasn't that who it was? Was it Nancy Kerrigan?
We get a Nancy Kerrigan.
We got to get some Nancy Kerrigans out there. I'm sure we could find some on the streets of Boston.
Gleyber Torres is coming out with his Game Boy Color. We're like, hey, Gleyber.
We could find some Nancy Kerrigans in Boston. I guarantee it. I guarantee we can.
My Game Boy. Game Boy.
Poor Gleyber. All he wants to do is play Mario Kart, man. Look, Mario Kart's a fun game. I'm not going to deny it. It's a great game. I love Mario Kart.
It is. But I just don't know if the shortstop of the New York Yankees should be rushing to that after
the World Series trophy is more important than the Mushroom Cup, baby. It's much more important than a Mushroom Cup.
Trust me, Gleyber.
Or the Piranha Cup.
Princess Peach is going to be just fine.
She'll be all right. She's going to be fine, man. She's going to be fine.
I'm ripping. And guys, just Gleyber Torres fans, relax. All right. Yeah. We're having fun. We're having fun with the guy. This whole season is not on him.
No, right? Definitely not. Definitely not at all. We're having fun with Gleyber. Look, we're having fun with him.
With a game
so, I mean, with that being said, guys, like I said, I mean, the main idea of us right now is the name is the name for a reason. You know, we're out here to spit facts for you guys. And again, all I ask is that you guys subscribe, share on the YouTube side. First podcast NYYNEWS has ever done that is going to be on Apple, Spotify, Google, all that fun stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed this first episode. Francis, any last words for the fans out there?
Thank you. That's it. Keep it real simple. Thank you guys for everything. Like Pete said, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Tons of you guys have been following me after everything that we do. That's amazing because I'm not even really big into followers. So literally, only thing I want to say to you guys, thank you.
He might not be big into followers, okay? But I'm going to ask you guys to follow him, okay? It's right there on your screen. You can't say you can't find him. I retweet him all the time. It's not hard to click a follow button to show a little support, okay?
You guys know who I am.
You guys know who Francis is.
For you. For sure, I appreciate that.
You guys know who Francis is. So, all right? So, don't let me Nancy Kerrigan some of you guys out there, okay? All right? So, with that being said, thank you guys so much. Episode number 1. Many, many more to come. You guys are the best. Thank you. Talk to you soon.